All right, today we're going to unpack the absolutely incredible symbolic richness that's packed into a single, powerful verse from the book of Revelation. We're about to see how just one image can tell a story that spans all of cosmic history. It's pretty amazing.
Okay, so let's just dive right in. The verse paints this stunning, kind of mysterious picture, right? A mighty angel standing with one foot on the sea and the other on the land. So what on earth is this vision trying to tell us? That's the puzzle we are going to solve together today.
So, our first stop is really understanding that this is not just any old messenger. No, this vision is a profound statement about ultimate authority, about dominion over all of creation.
First things first, who is this angel? Well, our source material interprets this as a theophany, and that's just a fancy word for a symbolic, non-physical appearance of God, or in this specific case, Jesus. This immediately raises the stakes, you know? We're not just looking at a messenger, we're looking at a depiction of the king himself.
Now, let's look at where his feet are planted, because this is not random at all. In this kind of symbolism, the sea represents the Gentile nations, the realm of chaos and death. The earth, or the land, that represents Israel and its whole established religious and legal system. So by planting his feet on both, he is making a huge statement. He's claiming total authority over every single sphere of human existence. Nothing is left out.
But here's where it gets really cool. This stance isn't just about covering all the geographical and social spots. The key insight here is that this image is also a timeline. It's designed to tell a story about a massive shift in power and authority that unfolds over time. Let's break that down.
To really get this, we have to look at the before picture, the state of the world before the pivotal event of the cross. This was a time that we can best describe as an era of partial dominion.
Think about it like this. Before the cross, God's dominion was declared, it was prophesied, sure, but it wasn't fully executed here on earth. It was more of a promise of authority and intention. And why? Because sin still held a legal claim. It still had a foothold in the world.
And this quote from the book of Hebrews just perfectly captures that feeling of incompletion. The promise was there, the power was there, absolutely, but it hadn't yet been fully applied to put all things under his authority. There was a not yet hanging in the air.
And the backstory for this goes way, way back, all the way to the beginning. Authority over the earth was originally given to humanity, to Adam and Eve, but it was lost through deception in Eden. The entire Old Testament, in a way, is the story of prophesying and waiting for that authority to be fully restored.
But then, everything changes. The cross happens. And this is where we shift from a promise to a reality, from partial dominion to what we can now call full dominion.
And look at the contrast. It's just night and day. After the cross, it's no longer just an intention. It's a full possession and a legal claim. Redemption is complete. Judgment on sin is executed. Authority is now fully and legally established over both the sea of nations and the earth of religion. The whole shebang.
The declaration itself completely flips. Compare that not yet feeling from Hebrews to this quote from Matthew. This is a statement of fact. All power is given. It's done. The transaction is complete.
The imagery here is just so powerful. Think of the angel's feet not just standing there, but planted, like the roots of the tree of life itself. This symbolizes a deep, permanent restoration of the ownership and the life-giving authority that was lost way back in the Garden of Eden.
Okay, but the stance is only half the picture, right? The angel also does something else. He performs a second action. He lifts his hand to heaven. And this gesture, well, it's just as significant as the first one.
Now, you might think a gesture of ultimate power would be, a clenched fist or something really forceful. But it's the total opposite. The lifted hand here is interpreted as an act of complete surrender, a total submission of one's own will to the will of the Father.
And the connection here is just unmistakable. This gesture perfectly mirrors Jesus' final words from the cross. The lifting of the hand is basically a visual representation of that prayer, a complete and a willing release of his life into the Father's hands.
So it's really, really important to get this. This is not an act of defeat. This is the posture of sacrifice. It echoes the arms spread wide on the cross. And it shows us that dominion wasn't won through brute force, but through a willing act of surrender that ultimately conquered death itself. It's a paradox.
Okay, and now for the grand finale. Let's see if the very grammar of the original Greek text actually supports this whole grand narrative of dominion through surrender.
A closer look at the original language can reveal some absolutely fascinating details. This is the fun part.
Okay, let's look at two key Greek words here. The word for standing is hestota. It's in what's called the perfect tense. The easiest way to think of it is this. It means a completed action that has ongoing results. He has taken his stand, and because of that, he remains standing. Now, the word for he lifted is iden. This is in the aorist tense, which is much simpler. It just means a single, decisive, completed action in the past. It happened once, and it was final.
And this is where it all just clicks into place. The grammar itself confirms the whole story. The permanent, ongoing state of dominion, that's the standing, was achieved through that one-time decisive act of surrender, the lifting of his hands. The tenses literally tell the tale. It's incredible.
So, we'll leave you with this question to chew on. This verse, as we've seen, isn't just a description, it's a dynamic image telling a story across all of time. So how does seeing Scripture this way, as a redemptive timeline presented in these powerful symbolic images, change how we might approach and understand these ancient and profound texts? It's something to think about. Thanks for joining us.